Well, hey, hello and welcome to Equidance Live number 2. Last week's went really well, so thanks for those who joined us last week. Can everyone hear me okay and see me okay? I think it's looking okay. Great. Now, to begin with this evening, I've just got a massive congratulations to two friends of mine, Harvey and Nicola Buchanan. Wow, amazing. They're not, they weren't going to tell anyone, but they've won a little bit on the lottery and bought this amazing property. And I saw it earlier, so that's absolutely incredible. So, no, sorry, we've got a shadow going on the background. The producer's here, Mrs. Equidance, and she just had her laptop on. But yeah, so a massive congratulations to Harvey and Nicola for their wonderful win on the lottery, and superb. Well done, Harvey. Anyway, we got a prize draw today as well. We promised that we'd have a £40 voucher up for the like and share competition for this show, and that will happen at the end. And I believe it's been running on Insta as well. So we're going to run a random number generator at the end and find out who's won that £40 voucher. Anyway, on to the freestyle, because that's what we're here for. Of course, this is Equidance. We specialise in freestyle music, and we're going to give you some tips and some tricks. And every week we're going to explore a little bit more about freestyle music. Now, this week we're going to be talking about music choices. And along with the music choices, we're also going to investigate the use of lyrics within freestyle. And I'll talk you through that in a bit. Yes. Next week, we've got the wonderful Isabel Wessels joining us on the 8th. And then the following week, we've got Anna Miller joining us on the 13th. Then we've got the wonderful Jez Palmer and Lucy Pye on the 22nd. And then at the end of the month, hopefully, because she's not confirmed yet, but she did say she wants to do it. Now she's got a date, hopefully she can make it. Olivia Towers will be joining us as well. So if you've got any suggestions for guests that you'd like beyond April, then please do. Now, the reason I say beyond April is that some of you might have heard already, BD and BS have extended the ban on competitions until the end of May, unfortunately, but it's probably all for the best, obviously, in the current circumstances, especially with today's figures. But let's not focus on that. Let's be happy and cheerful and move on. So, questions today as well. Get your questions ready. They could be for me, or they could be for Levi later. Plenty of questions online. Kelly will pass them over to me as and when they come in, and we will do as many as we can within the hour slot. But if not, we'll try and answer any online afterwards. You can email me, and Levi will also get the questions, and hopefully we can get them back to you. Maybe we can do a joint Q&A on Facebook at some point in time if there's too many. Fantastic. Okay, so let's get started. Music choice. Last week we just did an overview of what we're going to be looking at. This week we're going to get into the nitty-gritty. Now, there's been loads of different music choices for freestyle over the years, and some things have been popular, some things haven't, but the basic is we've got a magic triangle with music. The first thing is, of course, under the guidelines, the music's got to suit your horse, but that's a massive grey area. There's all kinds of music that can suit your horse, believe me. So that brings me to the second point, which is that you've got to love your music. Now, people have heard me say this so many times. If you don't love your music, then you're going out and riding without a massive smile on your face. And if you haven't got a massive smile on your face, and if you're not enjoying it, it doesn't look like you're enjoying it for one, but also you're not going to ride as well because you're not enjoying it. And if you hate your music, you probably get to the point where you're riding it so badly your horse knows you hate your music and it won't go as well. So getting good music that you love is going to be smashing for you, for your ride and everything. Enjoy it. It's freestyle. So, 1, it's got to suit your horse. 2, you've got to love it. And 3, the judges haven't got to hate it. Now, of course, judging is really hard for freestyle, but one of the things that's not supposed to affect a judge's point of view is whether they like the music or not. However, that's going to be really hard to do. If a genre of music comes on that, as a judge, you're like, oh, and somewhere in your mind subconsciously it's got to affect the way you're thinking about the freestyle. So, it's keeping within those boundaries. Now, we're going to go through some music choices. Actually, let's have a look at the videos we've got here. I've got some new software today, and it's going to be a little bit clunky this episode because I've got to learn how to play the videos while I'm talking to you. which is going to be something else. And now I'm going to play you one video first of all, and it's more traditional music, but it's a more traditional horse, and you'll see what I mean. Has anyone heard of Tiger Tim? We love Tiger Tim. We've got Daniel Rhodes riding Tiger Tim here, and he's riding to some big band swing music. Now, this is a very popular form of music for freestyle. It's more traditional, doesn't break any new ground, but we're going to start off with it. So, if I can get it to work, have a look at this file, folks. There we go. I hope you could hear that and see that okay. That's Daniel Rhodes riding Tiger Tim, who's a very famous little feathered cob. I love him to pieces. Now, that kind of music, as you can see, he just bops along quite beautifully to that. Really suits. That was actually at the Nationals 2 or 3 years ago, I believe. And so you can see that's kind of music really suited him. And that trot, he was really bouncing along to that style of music. However, we're going to go through several different sorts of music tonight, and I'm going to take you now to totally another end of the spectrum, actually to one of my favourite horses I've ever worked with, and you'll see why. It's just different. This is Anne-Marie Bourke-Eppers. Hi Anne-Marie if you're watching, and she rides this horse I love called Mumbles, and together they call themselves Team Penguin. Now, Mumbles has got this trot that sort of trots from the shoulders. He's got all this attitude like a show pony. And when I worked with Anne-Marie, I said to her, kind of, what sort of music are you into? And she goes, well, I'm really into rock music. I really like things like The Killers and Muse. But so I guess we can't really use that for dressage. And I'm like, oh yeah, let's give that one a go. And so we did. We put together a lovely arrangement with Muse and The Killers and rock music. And it's really quite out there. So she went off and she competed with it. And she got through to the regionals, and then she got through to the nationals, and I was like, oh, are you sure you want to take this into nationals? She was like, yeah, absolutely, let's do it. And so this is what happens. Now, bear with us. The intro on this is actually really raucous, but remember, you don't actually get marked on your intro music. You only get marked from your halt onwards. So you could do all sorts of things on your intro music, but we've used a rather raucous piece of Muse just to get people to turn their heads, look, and get jaws dropping. See what you think. I'm going to play it now, if I can find it. Here we go. There you go. You can see that a bit of rock music with a trot like that can work really, really well. And I know that we dropped some jaws and opened jaws and opened some eyes. I know I just said that. My wife's just looking at me going, oh, "You just said that, didn't you?" That was not a Freudian slip. It was just a dressage slip. And I know Levi can hear me in the background, and he's probably wetting himself laughing, waiting to come onto the interview. But hey ho, these things happen. It's live TV. Never work with children, animals, or idiots. Anyway, so that was Anne-Marie Borkeppers on Mumbles doing a wonderful, wonderful floor plan to some Muse. And it works. It might be heavy, it might be raucous, but it works. It works with the horse, and times are changing. You can do so much more these days. Moving on to the next example, because not everyone wants something that's banging and raucous. And a lot of people think, oh, you know, Equidance, they're that kind of, they do all the dance music and the rock and the heavy stuff. No, not at all. We do everything. Everything from classical all the way through to dubstep. It all depends on what suits the horse and what you love. And then if you want to take a risk with the judges, it's great. Louder voice. All right, I can get a bit louder. Can you hear me better now? Right, anyway, so let's move on. This one is Laura Wallen, and this is totally different. This music is actually from a film soundtrack, and the film is called The Holiday, and it's got some beautiful, calm, gentle music. And this horse, actually, Frank, needed something a little bit more gentle and dainty. As you can see, he's a bit more of a ballerina. And so this style suited him so much better. This was again at the Nationals at Hartbury. So I'll play it for you. Should I be able to find it? Hold on 1 minute. And there it is. Ladies and gentlemen, Laura Wallen on Frank. There you go. You can see how different that is, where you've got that lovely calmness to the arrangement, and Frank really works well with that. And also, I think anything too bangy at that point, he might have been a bit spooky. So as you heard in the walk, there wasn't really a very precise rhythm because he was likely to get a bit choppy in the walk, especially in an environment like that at the Nationals. So we chose something really calm and flowing and what we call arrhythmic. So he could just walk through and be the rhythm of the piece. And I think that helps to give the perception of it being relaxed. So the film soundtrack kind of genre is fantastic because it's full of dynamics. Soundtrack score composers have to come up with all sorts of dynamic themes and recurring themes, and they tend to write something for a film with similar instruments, similar voicings, and similar tempos, so you can take something apart and rearrange it really well for floor plans like that. It's a little more complex, but it can be absolutely stunning. Now, there's also another genre that's similar to your soundtrack genre, and it's people who are writing soundtrack style of music, and it's a new genre, and it's called epic music, and literally it's epic. And I'm going to play you something using some epic music that we did for one of our good friends and rider, Martin Schleicher. Hi Martin, if you're watching. This is the music we did for Diane, for Martin, a year and a half ago, and we love this horse so much. But I'm just going to play the trot section out of this and see what you think, because this is film soundtrack-esque, but it's not actually from a film soundtrack. So I'll play it, you see what you think. That trot music, isn't that extended trot absolutely epic, literally epic, when he comes around the corner and it kicks off with that lovely female vocal just coming underneath it. Absolutely love it. Now there's all sorts of styles, modern styles of music, and a lot of my younger riders, they want something that's contemporary. But unfortunately with the kind of chart and contemporary music stuff, it can be a little tricky if we take the vocals out, or if there are no vocals and we just use instrumental versions, because a lot of modern music, the instrumentals are very repetitive. If you were to take all the vocals out, they'd literally be a loop, just going round and round and round. And nobody wants to hear a loop going round and round and round. So what do? Well, the simple thing to do is to get a violinist or a saxophone player or a guitarist to play the lead line over the top. We prefer to go down the strings line. We love the cellos and the violins because they just add that beauty, and the strings go really well with the horses. So we find even with hip-hop artists and R&B and all sorts of modern stuff that you can find versions that you've got beautiful violin playing over. So I've got an example to play you, and I hope Yasmin's watching, but this is Yasmin Ulla, who's also a friend of ours who has a very pampered pony called Velvet, and she came to me originally and she was like, "Hello Tony Tunes," so that now coined a phrase, I'm now called Tony Tunes. She goes, "All right, my name's, I can't do the accent now. I'm Yasmin, I'm from London, and I want to dance to hip-hop." She's not from Dorset, no. I'm no good at accents, as you can probably, I can be West Country, but I can't be London. But anyway, Yasmin came to me, she goes, "I want to dance to hip-hop." And so I said, okay, so hip-hop is just a series of repetitive beats with someone rapping over the top and the occasional chorus. But if you find something like this, it can work. So let's play you and you see what you think. There we go. A bit of 50 Cent there. In the house. You saw it here first. with a horse dancing to it. So yeah, you can do hip hop as long as you've got a melody to go through it as well. So with instrumentals, you've got to be careful. Instrumentals can be a bit repetitive. So adding something in to give it that melody, or using an instrumental version with a melody, can sometimes be a great option. Which brings me on to the next point, and this is one of the questions we get asked more than anything else. Too vocal or not too vocal? That is the question. Well, actually, BD have an answer for that. There's no specific rule that prohibits the use of vocals within the music. However, it's considered unacceptable if the amount of vocals used diminishes the integrity of the music itself and detracts from the harmony of what the judge is seeing. So simplified, if vocals are used, they should be with discretion and not focus the attention on the words of the song. So let's break that down. What can we do then to have a few vocals in, but it not to be marked down because it's getting in the way of the dressage? Because at the end of the day, this is all about the dressage. The dressage is what's going to score you most of your points. The music can enhance that, and the music can accompany that. But if we can find something with a little bit of lyrics in it as well, sometimes it can really get the hairs on the back of the neck standing up. So I'm going to show you two examples. This is with another good friend, Zoe Kiff. She's down and she rode this down at another good friend's yard, Webb's Green. So I'm going to show you this one without vocals first of all, and Steph will be jumping up and down going, it's my yard as well. But so this is for you and Zoe, but I'm going to play this version without the vocals first of all, and it's a Katy Perry compilation, but I'm just going to play you some of the canter music, and then I'm going to play you with the vocal in afterwards so you can see how it enhances the music and the dressage. First of all, without the lyrics. That's with the lyrics. Hang on, I'm just going to hope that I've got those the wrong way around. Bear with me. So, there we go, without the lyrics first. As you can see, that is just repetitive. It may as well be a drum machine or just a loop, you know, there's nothing really to it. The dressage is beautiful, but the music is doing nothing for the dressage. So what we've done, which is a little bit different to what anyone else does, is we've taken the a cappella, which is just the vocal on its own, and we've added it into the instrumental track. But what I've done is I've filtered it down and I've turned the voice from the verse into an instrument. So you hear the melody, but it hasn't got intelligible words in it. So it's not vocals, but it's adding that melody in. And then when she gets to the corner and comes into a medium canter across the diagonal, you'll hear the chorus come in with the full lyrics, and that really lifts and elevates the spirit on that corner and really adds to the drive down for that medium canter. So let's play you that, and you see what you think of what it sounds like with the lyrics in as well. Here we go. There you go, see. So with a little bit of technical know-how, because I've been editing for the last 20 years, we can do a remix like that for a little bit extra that fits the horse and does it really well like that. Superb. Using lyrics, they work really well. And you can't say that any judge watching that is going to go, oh, you know, too many lyrics, because it lifts. It just lifts that corner. It actually adds to the dressage. So next example, talking about lyrics, was one that we did that got quite a bit of noise about it, and that was one we did with Enchant, and it's a Beyonce remix. I'm just going to play you the trot and the walk because it's important that you see all of that. There's a little bit of a slow intro to this, but you got to see it because this one really for me has everything. Has the beauty, has the modern, has the dynamics, has the little bits of vocals, but you see what you think. Wow, what an arrangement, what a wonderful rider and a lovely horse too. That's Enchant. So with the editing, it's really important with the editing because the bar has been raised now. If you want to go out and compete at that level, you've got to have superb music as well. And it's all doable with the technology these days. So there we go, lyrics within the dressage. I'm sure that you'll agree with me, it can work really well. It's a little bit tricky, but it can work really well. If you want to stay safe at qualifying, then maybe stay away from them. It's a funny old area. It's subjective, isn't it? But if you love the chorus of a song and we can find the instrumental and a cappella and edit them together, it's always a good idea to see if we can marry them together and just get those hairs standing up on your head as well as everyone else who's watching it. Because this should be a spectator sport. This is brilliant. I mean, imagine going out and watching a whole set of dressage freestyles like that. It would just be awesome to watch. I could do that every evening. Now, we're going to play one more freestyle before we introduce our very special guest here tonight, Mr. Levi Hunt. And I'm going to actually play one of his. It's one of the reasons he's on. Him and I go back actually to pretty much the start of my career within freestyle. And I was introduced to him by Steph Erdley, who works with us doing floor plans, who was working with him at the time. And we just got on really well, and I've done several freestyles for him, but none that I remember and love quite as much as the first one that we did, which was also his first international, and it was at Hartbury. It was an FEI international, and we just loved it. But it's poignant now because it's got lyrics in it, but he actually got a really good score for it. And also he got a really good round of applause for it. So I'm going to play, this is the only one I'm going to play all the way through, but I'm going to play this test all the way through for you, and then we're going to bring Levi on, and we'll have a good old chat with him. So let me find it. Here it is. Enjoy this, ladies and gentlemen.
So, for Great Britain, Levi Hunt with Arbitron. Levi Hunt and Abby.
Listen to that clapping, and I tell you what, we got more clapping. He's here with us now. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Hello, mate. How you doing?
Yeah, not too bad, thank you. I was just watching that just with the biggest smile on my face again.
It's that bring back some memories for you.
Yeah, it's only about the 300,000th time I've watched that video, and I still go, yes, I'm gonna watch it.
Oh, amazing. So, I mean, that was kind of when I met you and you did your first international. I knew you were quite nervous about doing that one. But give us a little bit about your background. What led you up to that moment, or where you are now? I mean, there's quite a history there, right?
Just a series of bad choices. Bad life choices. Not going to university. Not having. I got into horses quite late. I was 15 years old and growing up in Wolverhampton in the middle of an estate. So the nearest kind of bit of countryside was a good bus ride away for me. But I was doing my paper round one day and I could see some horse poo on the road. And I just instinctively thought, right, I want to know where that horse is stabled. I want to ride that horse. And there was a football field near me. And I just kept thinking, I'd just love to do whatever they do when they go fast. I still probably don't know what the technical name is. Maybe canter? I don't know. I just really wanted to ride a horse. So I went on Google Earth and I found the nearest fields, the nearest green fields that were around the estate. Like, went over there when I could. Found the horses, found the owners, but they turned out to be a clan of gypsies that weren't very happy that I had turned up asking if I could ride their horses. So I got booted up there really, really quickly. And then went into the Yellow Pages. So this shows it was definitely more than 10 years ago this happened. I went into the Yellow Pages, found the nearest riding school, and just started, brushing ponies, doing lead rein lessons in return to ride a horse at the end of the day. And then kind of fast forward 5 years later, after working in racing, eventing, show jumping, I started moving into dressage. The first dressage horse I ever rode was a really sharp, young, painted black horse that a friend of mine was struggling to ride at the time, and I was just young cannon fodder that would sit on anything to get any type of experience.
Still bounced,
I definitely stopped bouncing 2 years ago. There was a cut-off line, definitely. And when the crow's feet start coming, you stop bouncing. I've learned that. Tony, this is where you say I don't have crow's feet.
Yeah.
No, I was just thinking they're not called crow's feet, they're called smile lines, aren't they?
Is that what they're called?
Yeah.
All right, go with that.
Yeah.
So luckily, the owner of that painted black horse was a member of the TTT, which is the Training the Teachers of Tomorrow Trust. So it really should be four, but it was the TTT. And they were very classically, their ethos was very classical. So from a really, really young age in dressage, I got to have a really pure kind of introduction into the sport. And it just took over from that moment, really. I learned about the scale of training from the beginning. And for a couple of 3 years, I juggled, backing horses in the morning and getting bronked off, and then being bolted off with up the gallops at lunchtime. And then by the afternoon, I was being taught that your inside seat bone, if you tweak your left arse cheek a little bit, you get left canter. And if you, clap 3 times and, syncum by eye, you can get right canter lead and a light bend. You can get a really nice light way of riding. And then that took over. And so dressage fast became my favourite sport. And the core value, I think, of dressage is you will get rewarded if your horse in the arena is supple, energetic, and willing. If those are the core fundamentals of what you can show the judge, you will be rewarded to a certain degree. Of course, then movement comes into that, and not being a plonker and going the right way helps. I've learned.
With freestyle, it's a different thing altogether, of course.
Yeah, exactly. So with that being the ethos of dressage, well, my ethos of the sport and what I see as being the ethos, it was just a clear winner. That was going to be my life, and I've loved it more and more every year. The more I learn, the more I realise I don't know, and that's what I love about it.
Yeah, it's infinite, isn't it? There's so much to learn about it. I mean, I came late to the party. I absolutely love dressage, but I don't even ride. But I love watching you guys and girls ride. It's incredible.
You're one of the lucky ones.
No, the sensible ones. The sensible, you're all mad. Anyway, listen, we know that it's tough in these times at the moment with the virus and everything. I don't want to dwell on that too much. But how have you adapted your business and your training to work in these current restrictions?
Yeah. I think, like a lot of people, I'm quite apprehensive about lots of things that are to come and are happening right now. But those of us who can still get to our horses, and my heart goes out to anybody that can't get to their horse, or to those that are stuck in some high-rise flat in a city. My heart goes out to them. But being as lucky as we are, if we can, to get to our horses, what it's actually done for me is it's slowed me down a little bit. I'm not racing around, going from training my horses on the motorway, teach some lessons, back home, do it again, that county, this county. I love doing that, but I feel like it's giving me a bit of time to reflect on what I do with my horses at the yard. So it's not all bad. I think if you're with your horses or you're not, it's giving everybody more time to reflect on some things, whether that's family life, taking time to clean your skirting boards if you haven't done it for 4 years, whatever it is, or whether it's not spending as much time stretching your horse before and after a ride because you've got to quickly get to work, or maybe you haven't done as much lunging because you have never really thought about doing it, but now you are. The way you have got to adapt in this can be good and bad. I'm trying to look at the positives.
On that note, I've got a little bit of a video of you adapting your training actually, so I'm going to play it because
Jesus, makes me nervous.
I think people are going to find this interesting. Let's see if I can find it here. Yeah, here it is. Ladies and gentlemen, Levi exercising. What is that all about? Is that pug aerobics or something?
I can't get to the gym. I've got a very needy dog that when I go to the backyard, and all she tries to do is get on me when I'm doing sit-ups. I thought, right, she could be my PT for a little while.
Yeah. So you've included this as part of your training videos that you've put up online as well, which we'll talk a little bit about later. Well, actually, we'll talk about it now, pretty much, because you have been doing. And I like this because you've done some in-hand work. Because I think some people are, obviously a bit nervous to ride because obviously if something happens, if you're on a horse that isn't bomb-proof and you come off, then we're putting extra strain on the NHS. We all know about that argument and everyone's got their own views. However, I like what you've done with your videos, doing some in-hand work. Do you mind if I show one of them?
Absolutely, go ahead.
Which one would you prefer? Would you like me to do the long reining or the lunging one?
Go with the lunging. Have you got the lunging one between the poles?
Yes, I have.
Brilliant. That's a great one.
So I'm going to play the whole one.
If I may say so myself.
He's so modest. So I'm going to play this one for you folks while he sits and watches it. So it's so varying your lunge circles. Enjoy this.
Hi everyone, it's another video from the man who thinks it's socially acceptable to wear fluffy Crocs to the supermarket. Today I'm expanding on the use of poles in your lunging or long range session to vary the size of your training circle. My model for today is our 6-year-old Mount St John Finale, or Phoebe as we all lovingly call her here. She is working in a rope training aid today. This encourages her to work in a lower outline while stretching her back. I space out my poles using a fixed object / dog in the centre of it, obediently assisted today by Cody. My pug chose the 1 minute of the day where she actually decides to shift it to be the 1 minute when I needed her to be still. Standard Barbara, really helpful. I then walk 4 strides to lay my first pole for my smallest circle. Then a further 3 strides to the second and third size circles. It may seem like a lot of effort, but it does pay you back in how efficient it makes your session and can be used ridden too. One tip to make setting this up easier is to sit back and watch your groom, personal assistant or partner set it up while you scream orders from the corner of the arena. I did this and I didn't even break into a sweat. Once I've walked Phoebe through the different size circles, I start lunging her in walk in the smallest circle area. I can get her active and thinking about the circle itself from here. Then as I move to trot and through...
So I think you get the gist there, ladies and gentlemen. There is a load of fun in these videos as well, which is great to see. And also there are crocs.
I'm sorry, a straight man cannot tell a gay man anything about fashion. This is not your department, okay?
So Crocs is a sensible idea, are they, in the arena?
Fashionable, very, very durable. Great for your dignity. The list is endless.
Yeah, we love the comedy. You've got a series of, what is it, 3 or 4 now of those videos that you've been putting together over the last week.
I've got 3 or 4, and I'll be doing 1 or 2. Well, definitely, I think about 2 every single week. Some of them are going to be through the new Ridley app that I'm working with. I'm going to do some exclusive content with them, some content with other people, and then some just through my social media channels. What I'm trying to do with all these videos is help people in a time where some people might think, oh, I'm really by myself, because flat groundwork in particular is not something you necessarily talk to a trainer about. Normally when you're with your trainer, you're talking about your riding issues. And so you can lunge once or twice a week maybe, have these problems and issues, think to, why on earth does my horse do this, or how could I get it to do that? But when you're with your trainer, you don't really think to ask that. One, you don't know if it's going to be their area of expertise or interest. Yeah. And also, your time with them, normally you really just want to get your riding issues sorted. So I actually just think this is a really great chance to brush up on all of that. And like you said, there's 2 sides to this debate. I'm not here to debate that, because there are 750,000 horse owners in the UK alone. There's going to be a different circumstance for every single one of them, and so I'm not here to judge. What I want to do is try and use this as an opportunity to help people further their skills with their lunging if they choose to or have to do it. But I will just say editing these videos is more painful than stubbing your toe or childbirth. And I cannot vouch for all of those, but I will assume it's more painful than those. I've done one of those. I won't tell you which one it is.
I wouldn't wish kidney stones on you, my friend. I wouldn't wish kidney stones on you. Anyway, look, you're going to put them up on the YouTube channel I convinced you to put together yesterday. And that YouTube channel, folks, is available on the PDF file that comes with... it's on the front of the website. You can download it. And you should have got an email if you dropped an email on your reservation. The PDF file's got lots of links. It's got links to Levi's website. It's got links to Levi's YouTube channel. And if you look on any of these, you've got Levi Hunt Equestrian on Facebook, at Levi William Hunt on Instagram, and of course Levi William Hunt on the Tube of Eunice. So they're all there, and you can get them off our page later too. Anyway, we've spoken a lot about Levi. We need to talk about freestyle, mate, because we're a freestyle show predominantly. So tell me, why should riders at all level consider competing freestyle?
I mean, I can only go on why I first went into freestyle, but I think the reason that I went into freestyle is the reason I think everybody should, and that's that we can all ride a dressage test. Now, some people might be thinking, I can't. Everyone can ride. If you can ride walk and trot on both reins, even questionably, you can do a walk and trot dressage test. So if you can do a dressage test, you can do a freestyle.
Yeah.
For me, it's about being creative. Now, it's quite a formal, structured sport, dressage. You know, I've got friends who are dancers and they wear what the hell they want. They turn up looking fantastic or looking like dirt if they want, and they can be themselves. In dressage, we have to look like butlers from Downton Abbey when we ride a horse, and it's quite stiff, it's quite formal and structured. Freestyle for me was an opportunity for me to say, yeah, I'm in dressage and I love dressage, but this is who I am. This is my style of music. This is how I would put something together. So if you are an artist or a potter or a dancer or a fashion designer, yes, you learn your skill, but then you get creative with it.
Expressive,
and that's where that art begins. And so that for me was what made me want to do dressage. I love the sport, and I love being compared to people in a structured way, because it gives a formality to it, and I understand that's how you need to score a lot of dressage. But then this just gave an opportunity to say, okay, do you know what? Love this sport, but this is who I am.
Yeah, lovely. The creativity and the expression of yourself is quite important. We use that analogy quite a bit with people when they say, well, why should I do it? It's like, well, it's like what you choose to wear or what car you choose to drive or all sorts of things. It's just, this is me. Without the,
exactly.
Well, there we go. The Greatest Showman comes into it. I had to at some point, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, let's move on. Listen, give our audience, right, because we've spoken about the music, and I'm going to talk about designing floor plans at a later point in time quite in depth. But what I'd like from you, because riding a freestyle test is totally different to riding a straight vanilla dressage test, right? So what I'd like to do is give our audience a few tips on riding a successful freestyle.
Okay, the biggest thing I could think about would be to know your music, which I know sounds as obvious as anything.
Brilliant.
But you don't just want to think, okay, yeah, I've got that tune that blends into that one. You want to know when your key moments and your cues are coming in. So whenever I get my music delivered, I have it in the car, shower, kitchen, at work. I have it at the moment. If you put it on a boombox in a supermarket, people will stay 2 meters away from you, so you can use it wherever. Really, it's a great social distancing tool. No one's going to come near you if the Greatest Showman is playing out at 100 decibels, are they? So I just play the music, and I'd like to say until I'm sick of it. But I think when it's the music you feel you've created, or you're being creative with, weirdly, you just don't get sick of it. For instance, that video you played at the beginning, what was that now, 4 years ago?
Yeah, was it that long ago?
Was it 16?
Oh,
yeah.
my word!
I was a little 14-year-old thing back in the day when that came out.
Oh wow! I was only 42.
Sure. Yeah. We believe you. Maybe people could start commenting on if they believe you or not.
Go on then.
High or low, or Bruce Forsyth it. So yeah, know your music, know it. So when you're in that test and maybe something goes wrong, your horse spooks and you end up a little bit behind your music, or the surface is a bit faster because it's a harder surface than you're used to training on, you're a little bit ahead of it, you go, oh, I know this music so well, I might just cut that corner to get myself a bit of time back, or I might go deeper into that corner to gain more time. So the big thing for me, know your music. And then kind of linking in from what I just said would be to try and ride your floor plan on different surfaces before you compete, if you can. Not too easy for a lot of people, but try if you can, because a loose rubber surface will ride differently to a wax surface.
Yeah, sure.
And the speed might change. So I learned that the hard way once. I didn't think about it. I trained on one surface, rode on another, felt like I was riding the same way. I'm perfect, why wouldn't I? But I felt like, I don't know why you're laughing, Tony.
Apart from the Crocs, yeah.
Just don't know why you're laughing. So learn that the hard way. So you learn by my mistakes. Another tip, probably my final tip, would be you've got freedom in your choreography. So choose the best for you and your horse. Look at the rules. Look at what you have to do, and think, okay, I have to do so much work on the left and so much work on the right, but my horse is really, really good on the right and not the left. So maybe start on the right and then work on the left. The trainer in me says you should work on the left anyway, but the freestyle rider in me says make the test suit you and your horse. But of course, a little disclaimer, always work on your weaknesses anyway.
Yeah, interestingly, I noticed on that international that we played at the beginning, on your half-pass zigzags, you were a little bit ahead, so you just relaxed and let it flow, and then you came back and you rode deep on one corner and you were back on it.
I love the fact that you use the word relaxed.
Yeah.
I mean, physically that might look like what happened in my head. I don't. If there's anybody under the age of 16 listening, I won't use the words that were going through my head at the time. But I knew what I had to do. I might not have been too relaxed about it, but yes, I knew I was ahead of the music.
Yeah.
So in the atmosphere, that horse, Tom, God bless that horse, I owe him everything.
Yeah.
He was a little bit tense in the atmosphere, and it just made his rhythm a little bit quicker, made him a little bit quicker off the go. I couldn't quite get my halts to establish, so I just got going.
Yeah.
Before you know it, by third movement in, I'm about 3 seconds ahead of myself.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had freedom to play around with that. My zigzag half pass was going 5 meters, 10 meters, 5 meters.
Yeah.
So I just went 7.5, 12.5, 7.5. And before I knew it, because I knew my music, going back to the first point, I hit another cue in my head and went, yes, I'm banged on my music again. And I knew I could continue.
So tell me then. I mean, that's really interesting. I'm glad I picked up on that because I saw it in that test, and we haven't talked about that beforehand. But it's obviously because you knew the music so well. You knew all the cues. You knew what to do. Changing tack a little bit. What musical styles do you really enjoy watching? If you were watching some freestyle, you were at a Kurt, maybe a gala evening. What sort of things really gets you going when you're watching?
This is going to sound like the politician's answer, but. Anything. So like my own taste in music is like my own taste in food, anything. So from 60s soul to
Octopus.
90s house, power ballads, reggae, anything.
Yeah.
But S Club 7, okay? If
Right.
we can just clarify this. If everybody takes one thing from tonight, I don't like S Club 7.
Oh,
so
wow. We're going to get an angry face. Because I know we've done two really good S Club 7 arrangements.
That's the internet, Tony. You're going to get angry faces. So I've watched Kurs. I've watched International Grand Prix Kurs, and I've watched somebody doing a prelim freestyle down the road.
Yeah.
And I have loved music that on paper I would never like normally. You know, maybe it's a theme tune, maybe it's Disney music, maybe it's like something like somebody's riding to some type of 90s hip hop tune.
Yeah.
On paper, maybe I don't like that type of music, but if I watch that rider really like going at it, thinking, yeah, this is my jam, all of a sudden I'm there with them. So if they're doing it to Starsky and Hutch, okay, I wouldn't have that on my own iTunes, but I'm there with them and I like that all of a sudden. So I think it's seeing how the music filters through into the rider, seeing how there's that personal connection.
Yeah,
that
me too.
For me is what I like about freestyle.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
It's great because it can actually it can change my perception on some music.
Oh, I like that a lot.
But no S Club 7.
I think you've made your point.
Thank you.
Now, listen, we're going to move on to
Good night.
We're going to move on to questions. We've had lots of questions coming in, and most of them for you, obviously, because you're the rider amongst us. So,
wait a minute, then. I've just got something really important I need to do.
Oh, you're filling up your cup of tea, are you?
There's a cup of tea. Yeah, I gotta get ready for these. It's red. I don't know why it's red tea, but anyway.
So it's like Anna Ross is back on again. Hi, Anna.
I couldn't drink as much as she
Cheers, Beth and Anna. Hi at home. Hey, so Lynn Turner. Hi, Lynn. How you doing? Thanks for tuning in. Judges?
God, Lynn. I know this one. Jesus, I'm getting ready for this one.
By the way, he also said if we get over 100 likes, he'll take his top off. So over 100 loves. So keep pressing the love button, and he might take his top off. Not that you really want to see that.
Tell her when I see a bank transfer in my account for £1,000 from her, I'll send her a private picture with a topless photo.
Let's get back to the dressage.
Let's get back to dressage.
Did judges prefer? I've got the producer in the background going, God, did judges prefer familiar music or something obscure? Obscure is a strong word. But I see what you're saying, Lynn. So, do judges prefer familiar music or something obscure?
I think that's definitely one that I can briefly answer on. But I think the meaty answer is going to come from you. But I think that is going to be their perception. I know some judges who are in their early 20s that might be a little bit more open to different genres. I know some judges that are more classically trained. I think it really does depend on the judge you're getting. I've had You know, when we did the first music at Hartbury, you know, I played Lady Gaga and Lana Del Rey, but the Lana Del Rey track we did to the cantor music at the beginning of that was a deep house edition.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure there's many 76-year-old Ethels judging out there that are into deep house, but that international, there was a bit of a generalisation there, that international obviously scored, you know, he was on 74% with the music judges.
Yeah.
So I think it really is a matter of test, but I think it surely then, more than anything, comes down to the technicalities, which is your department.
Well, I'm gonna. It's a tough one for me, because judging should be unbiased to the genre, and as I said earlier, it's really hard for someone who can't stand listening to modern music to watch a freestyle with modern music and not be affected. So I think it comes down to the confidence and maybe a little bit of the training. But I think over time, with the popularity, as it increases, things may change. So there's a broader spectrum.
I think that question's actually kind of encapsulates the big question with dressage, which is that crosshatch between subjectivity and technical judging as well, and it's where we draw that line between what you can quantify and what can be opinion. It's not like show jumping, but it's not just like showing. We're in this weird little in-between sport where opinion and there's guidelines for some things, but some things I think can be swayed by opinion.
Yeah, I mean, there's really strong guidelines, BD guidelines for the judging of music. They're actually on if you look on the PDF, they're right on the last page, and it tells you what you should expect to get mark-wise if you do certain things and don't do others. So it's fairly clear, and it's well worth a read, actually. But next question. Right, Jess Allies and Donna Bars. Hi, Jess and Donna. How you doing, folks?
Hello.
Where do you start when you write a floor plan? How do you make them different?
I'd always say enter at A. Really, that's the safest option. And I'm out. Oh no.
Is that it? Enter at A. I remember once you had to do what was it? An into one floor plan, and you forgot to put in the counter half pass. Was it?
Cheers, Tony.
Yeah. And I got the video, and I'm sitting there watching it, going, what sort of into one is
I
this?
was actually just testing you, Tony, and you came up trumps that day. So well done. Well done.
Yeah, we bodged that one together, didn't we?
I mean, with all joking aside, I do genuinely start with my entry.
Yeah.
I think to myself, how would my horse best enter the arena? So if I've got a really bold horse, I think I could come in canter.
Yeah.
If I've got a horse a little bit tentative, I think maybe I'm going to want to come in walk or trot maybe. And once you get into the centre line and onto the centre line, and you decide where your halt is, again, if you feel like you want to make a statement at the beginning of the test, so you stopped really early on the centre line at D maybe, then that starts to dictate what then happens with your test.
Yeah.
You think to yourself, I've got a horse that is really great when he canters at the beginning of a test and then does trot afterwards. That will start to show you where to go. Or you think, my horse is a little bit backward thinking, so if I trot first, I can then do my canter afterwards when I know he's off the leg in the test and he won't break.
Yeah.
Is know your horse, know how you would ideally like to start a dressage test off. And again, this goes back to why freestyle is so fantastic, because nothing's dictated to you in concrete. It's all movable.
I'm going to say something on that as well. When you're designing your test, especially if it's one of your first and you're not used to coming in with your intro music, try not to halt at D on the first halt and not to halt at G on the last halt. Now there's a reason for that. You might start, the intro music might start early or late, and you might be in the wrong place for it, and you're coming in to enter A and your music's already stopped because it's supposed to stop at D. So, unless you're really well practiced on the intro, then I would stop at L to X kind of thing on your way in, just to get your confidence. And when you're coming back down the centre line to halt at the end, have it at X. That gives you loads and loads of wiggle room. It means you can stop early or stop late, but always stop on the music. There's nothing worse than watching a horse stop and the music still goes on, or the music stops and the horse still keeps going, and then you're like, oh, always ride your music, So design your floor plan so you've got the wiggle room to be able to ride your music. Do you agree?
I mean, yeah, you've got a gun to my head through the screen. Yes, I agree, Tony. Yes,
Thank you very much. That's cleared that one up, Jess and Donna.
Absolutely, makes total sense. I mean, if you're super confident and feel like you can push the limits a little bit, do. But yes, I think what you're saying is really wise, because the last thing you want to do is go into your test and feel a little bit out of place, ahead, behind, worried at the beginning of your test. You want to go into your test and think, great, I've got time to move about here. We're off to a good start.
Right, I think we got another question. I think just one more at the moment. And this was actually from Mrs. Equidance, and I know why she's asking this. What makes a promising novice horse? What do you look for?
Above everything else, what I've learned more and more is just a great attitude. And I remember hearing that. I remember Carl, a little known person called Carl Hester, I think his last name is. I remember he got asked this question a good while ago: would you rather have good movement or would you rather have a good brain? And he said good brain. And I remember like years ago thinking, no, surely you want legs akimbo, you want all of that. And I've learned the hard way, and I've learned the easy way on the ones with good brains. A good brain can take you so far, and you will enjoy nearly every single day on a good brain. So a prelim horse, novice horse, elementary, right up to Grand Prix, if a horse has got a good brain, every time you teach them something new, and you are literally talking to them via feel, they're open and they go, oh, why did you put that one leg there? Oh, okay, I'll register that and I'll remember for next time. They almost do it with a smile on their face. And before you know it, you've got a medium trot, you've got a leg yield, you've got a nice halt on the bit. But on a horse that is, and obviously you can have the magic unicorn, you just need £100,000. No, you can have a mixture of the two, but don't be fooled for the horse that just looks fantastic. Look for the brain, because the people that I see having a fantastic time and enjoying their horses, and I enjoy training them, and myself, the horses I love riding, they're maybe not the best movers, but they've got a fantastic brain and personality.
Oh, that's lovely, mate. I've got one more question for you just to finish this off. What are your plans for the future? What's Levi Hunt going to be doing this time next year, the year after? What's your aims and goals, mate?
Yeah, okay. Marry well. Pay off a credit card. I mean, before somebody in China decided to eat a bat, my plans are the same.
Or any other Asian country. Yeah.
Maybe it was another animal. I don't know.
Or any other flying mammal. Yeah. Sorry.
Or walking.
Or walking. Yeah.
Before this kicked off, you know what? My plans are the same as they were before, because that is what's keeping me going. I'm somebody that really thrives off a plan, and I like a deadline. I like a goal, because it gives me something to work towards, and I'm sure I'm not alone in that. I'm sure we're all the same.
Yeah.
So whenever we can press play again from this pause, my plans are the same. So what I'm trying to do is keep ticking over during this time, and that goes back to the videos that I'm doing. I don't want people to come back to me, whether they're clients or not, and go, oh, I just didn't know what to do for those 3 months. I didn't know what to do for those 5 months, 4 weeks, however long this was. And now he's gone really stiff again, or now he's a bit dangerous, or now, what do I do? I'm trying to tick over so that when we get going again, I can crack on with this amazing selection of horses that I've been trusted by to ride, train and compete by Jamie Flint and Georgia Keegan. I'm so lucky to be trusted with these horses that when this all kicks off again, I'm going to keep letting them enjoy the sport, and I'm going to enjoy them with it. I'm going to get out, going to crack on competing. Chino, some of you might know my infamous, what somebody called him Shrek the other day. Another person said he was a part-bred Shire. No offence to part-bred Shires, but it's a purebred KWPN, so it's a bit like calling a Mercedes a Transit. My plan with Chino is to tame him, but I'll push that back to 2050. Taming him. That's the plan. One day he won't try and kill me. I think HS1 is going to be on time and on budget. We've got more chance of that happening than we have me taking Chino. That's my aim for the future.
That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen now.
The yard I'm at now near Bath in North Wiltshire. Obviously everything's stopped, but as soon as it picks up again, the builders will be back on site to build the indoor school, so I can teach on site. So I can do what I was doing when I was at Abbey Dressage up in Tewkesbury, which is have people come to me as well as me going and doing clinics elsewhere.
Sure, yeah.
We'll have also a new aqua spa facility there, so we'll have an aqua treadmill, saltwater therapy. Georgia Keegan, fantastic physio, is fronting that. It's outstanding what they're building there, and I'm really lucky to be a part of that. And then just carry on expanding as I have been. And I think the big thing I want everyone to do is not lose sight of what they will be doing after all of this bleep show is over. And I just think we are the lucky ones that can, most of us, go out into a nice big green open field. We can get some fresh air. We can pretend that life is normal rather than people that are stuck inside, watching the news all the time, putting masks on every time they go out the house, making sure they don't go to the shops 2 times a day. That's what I'm trying to do.
And on that note, thank you ever so much, Steve. That's brilliant. Stay on the line because we'll debrief after this. But
we hit 100 likes, by the way.
We hit 100 likes. Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here first. We hit 100 likes, so...
Well, as promised, you're going to see a nice topless dog. Ooh.
Do you know what? I knew Barbara was there somewhere. I could hear the heavy breathing.
That's just me.
Ladies and gentlemen,
this is my personal trainer. She's been snoring the whole time.
I'm going to play that again in a bit, I think. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us this evening. I think you'll agree it's been a wonderful evening of fun and chat. Hopefully you've got something out of it. Don't forget, get the PDF file, either if you've been emailed it or it'll be on the front of your of my website at www.equidance.co.uk. You can get it there, download it. It's got some information. It's got the links to all Levi's things, and also you can look here, Levi Hunt a question at Levi William Hunt Instagram and Levi William Hunt on the old Tube of Eunice. You can get hold of us for any questions, and Levi, just let us know. And next week, don't forget, we've got the most amazing Isabel Wessels joining me here to talk about a judge's perspective, and we're going to investigate more about the freestyle music and give you more tools for your box. So when all this is over, you're ready to go out and get on it. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you ever so much for joining us. That's it from me. That's it